Most people using Claude's new 4.5 Sonnet have no idea what's even happening under the hood. The way it responds, the way it denies certain requests, and even the way it formats the output. And if you're using something like the browser-based Claude AI, there's more reasons than just the model training. Someone just leaked the entire system prompt for Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and it's one of the most detailed system prompts I've ever seen for an AI model. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the most interesting parts of this prompt with exact quotes, so you can understand not only how Claude thinks, but more importantly, how you can navigate it. This really matters because once you understand the heartbeat and rhythm of any AI model and exactly how it's been instructed, then you spend time working with it instead of against it. And if you stick around till the end, I'll walk you through a technique that you can use not just with this model, but any model to better understand the differences between different versions of the same model family. Let's dive in. So this is the prompt extracted by this user on GitHub, and you can see right here, as you go all the way down, it is a mammoth, gargantuan prompt that just does not stop. It's even hard to believe that all of this lives behind the scenes of Claude AI when you initialize a certain session. And if you ever got frustrated as to why the context fills up so fast, you now have your answer. Before we even get into the nitty gritty, it literally has a cheat sheet on election info, like who is the current president and who defeated who in the last election. So it's even giving it a cheat sheet on the current reality, since all of these models are trained somewhere between 2023 or early 2024. Now I could probably spend 2 hours breaking down each and every part of this prompt, but I'm just going to focus on core 6 areas that I found to be more interesting than others. And those are copyright paranoia, search tree, Claudeception, yes, an actual term in their prompt, local storage ban, design philosophy, and tone restrictions. Now this version of Claude seems to be a lot more sensitive around the topic of copyright and trademark restrictions versus any other model. And one of the reasons I personally think, not confirmed, is they've recently gone through one of the biggest lawsuits related to copyright, so I would imagine it's influenced the way it's given instructions to Claude 4.5. So we have a couple quotes from here. So one of them is never quote or reproduce exact text from search results even if asked for excerpts. And the next one is never reproduce or quote song lyrics in any form, whether it's exact, approximate, or encoded, even if they appear in web search results, which is very interesting, meaning a lot of times these language models know the entire corpus of a book because they've ingested said book. But in a way, they have to stop the language model from telling you that it actually knows the full answer and the entire set of text. And what's even more interesting is you can see here it says decline any request to reproduce song lyrics. So you should be able to say, make me a song like X. It won't even do that. This one is very cut and dry, and what it says is it's critical that Claude follows all of these requirements to respect copyright, avoid creating displacive summaries, and to never regurgitate source material. And if you thought it was done, they also say, regardless of what the user says, never reproduce copyrighted material under any conditions. Now the next category is search tree, and this is essentially how it's prompted to use things like web search to return results. So in this case, this is a very long prompt, so to better visualize it for you, I actually created a diagram based on this. But essentially it's just saying that if the information or the search term is well known, it shouldn't actually go in search. It should just tell it the answer based on its own training. But then it goes through a series of tree logic, that's why it's called decision tree, to decide whether or not a single search is needed, a multi-level search is needed, a simple factual query is needed versus actually referencing a specific source. And it even accommodates for the fact that it says complex multi-aspect query, where you might need to do anywhere between 2 and 20 calls. And what's interesting here is most people would just see Claude do its thing and just think that it's all trained in the model and everything is happening from that prediction happening behind the scenes. But in reality, that prediction is working with this prompt on the front end with a series of tools like weapons on the front end waiting to be invoked depending on the situation. And this is the visual that I promised. So a query is received, it then decides whether or not Claude knows the answer well. If no, then it searches and says, are there terms or entities that Claude doesn't know? If yes, search the single term or single search immediately. Otherwise, it goes down this tree of collecting more information to better understand and push back on the user to clarify exactly what it needs to search. And then based on that complexity, like I said, it will decide whether it's a single search or a multi-tiered or multi-threaded search. And here are some tangible examples in the prompt itself, where it says, help me code in language or explain concept should be handled by Claude itself, not a web search. And then it gives you examples of what a single search criteria might be, as well as the deeper research. Now the next one is called Claudeception, and to me this is one of the most interesting parts of the prompt, where if we go and look at an excerpt, it says right here, When using artifacts and the analysis tool, you have access to the Anthropic API via fetch. This lets you send completion requests to a Claude API. This is a powerful capability that lets you orchestrate Claude completion requests via code. Now, so far it might sound super boring, which is fine. Now, in the second excerpt, it builds on this by saying, this capability may be referred to by the user as using Claude in Claude or Claudeception. So it seems like they've received some user feedback or searches they've seen in history, where now they're baking it in to the prompt itself to call it Claudeception. The next one is around local storage ban. And what it says in terms of these excerpts is never use local storage, so storage in the actual browser itself, session storage, or any browser storage APIs and artifacts. These APIs are not supported and will cause artifacts to fail. So it's basically reminding Claude of Claude's limitations. And in the next part, it basically goes through what the artifacts should look like and how they should be structured using things like React and JavaScript as well as HTML. So if you're wondering why a lot of the apps look very similar or are constructed in very similar ways, this is why. And the next one is design philosophy. And this will be helpful beyond just Claude AI. It'll be helpful for just using Claude Code as well, because when you compare Claude Code to something like Codex, Codex has a bit of an edge right now in terms of nice and pretty user interfaces. And there seems to be a reason why. So if there are complex apps, there's basically a cheat sheet in the prompt itself to be able to navigate it, to steer to use certain frameworks versus others, and focus on things like smooth frame rates, responsive controls, clear, intuitive user interfaces, and walks through that it should be a simple, functional design. And this explains why a lot of the landing pages that Claude will put together look very similar as well. So consider the emotional impact and wow factor of the design. Ask yourself, would this make someone stop scrolling and say, whoa? And if you think I'm full of it for that direct quote, it literally says it right here. So it says the wow factor, ask yourself, would this make someone go and scroll and say, whoa? So it's actually in there. And this is probably the most simple, but to me, one of the most impactful reasons why Claude tends to bias towards doing Claude things. And it says, when faced with design decisions, lean toward the bold and unexpected rather than the safe and conventional. And for many of you, you might want to take this specific instruction and throw it in the garbage because you want the safe and conventional. But it's interesting to see that they want to bias on that wow factor that we saw above, and they're double downing with this specific sentence. And lastly, we have tone restrictions. So in excerpt 1, it says Claude never starts its response by saying a question or idea or observation was good, great, fascinating, profound, excellent, basically not trying to overhype you or gas you up too much. And this last one is meant to double down and make sure that it's not a sycophantic model, I think that's the way you'd refer to it, where it isn't overly agreeable with you. It doesn't say, wow, Mark, you're so smart, you're so handsome, and lie to me to my face. So it's meant to just ground as much of the conversation as possible. And now to end off, I'm going to walk you through the simplest thing you can do, especially when people leak prompts, which is pretty much going to be inevitable so long as we have language models behind a user interface. You can literally take these kinds of prompts and then go into Claude or whatever, ideally with a larger context window, so we'll see if this caps out. You can paste the current system prompt. You can go to something like Claude 4 and then click on copy again, paste it in there, and you could say, can you come up with a table breaking down exactly where these different system prompts differ in terms of the instructions, any core nuances, anything I should look out for, examples of prompts that would be better in one versus the other, etc. And then you can do all kinds of analysis. You could even bring in 3.7, 4.1 Opus, and really see the difference, because as models change, behavior changes. And there's a very technical reason why, when you have weights that change behind the scenes, you lose some functionality and get some functionality. And while that happens, what they try to do is complement any of those shortcomings or pros with that system prompt that you just saw to try to manhandle that behavior themselves. If you do something like this, like you can see right here, it walks through the different model versions, the implications, things that apply to one versus the other. And then if you want that TLDR of exactly what changed, what you should look out for, why copy in 4.1 sounds very different from 3.7, this is one of the best ways that you can do that. And what's cool is, if you take Claude via API, they don't really have this very large system prompt behind the scenes. So you can control your destiny a little bit more, where you can take that prompt, make it your own, and vibe code your own app where you have your own personal version or flavor of Claude without even having to fine-tune a model. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully that gives you a good look into the prompt of Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and more importantly, gets you more into the world of understanding these system prompts and understanding that none of this stuff is magic. Everything has a reason why it is. If you found that helpful, then please let me know down in the comments below. Really helps the video and the channel, so I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoy walkthroughs just like this, where I go a few steps deeper than the average person, then you'll definitely love everything I have to offer in the early AI adopters community. So check out the first link in the description below, and maybe I'll see you inside.